Hello, my name is Stephen Turner and I'm currently President of the Institute of Acoustics. We had some research done about 2 or 3 years ago and it found that the value of acoustics to the economy, it was £4.6 billion per annum, which is a startlingly huge sum, but that's what the numbers came out as. And we reckon there are about 16,000 people employed in the profession overall, across all the disciplines. The profession has changed insofar as the technology has developed, certainly in my career, with the sophistication of how we measure sound, also how we mitigate sound and the technology used for that. And then across the other disciplines, the medical advances in the use of ultrasonics has been absolutely huge. And one of the things I always like to remind people is that anybody born after about 1983 or thereabouts, the first time you were seen was courtesy of acoustics, because it was the ultrasound scan that your mother would have had when being checked to see how you were growing. So acoustics has moved on enormously. Whether it's more mainstream, I don't know. I think people don't really know what to make of acoustics, because for some, the link between acoustics and noise, and those who are bothered by noise, and then acoustics and ultrasonics, the language is just different. And so we in fact put a video together about 2 years ago, just trying to introduce people to acoustics and the breadth of the subject, which is absolutely huge. If you look back in history, acoustics has affected our existence throughout. There's work being done recently on what the acoustics of Stonehenge and how it affected the design of that structure that we're familiar with. And certainly if you go up to Scotland and where there are the stone circles, I actually managed to get into the middle of one and you could hear how the sound reflected off the stones, and hence made it easier for the leader to be heard by his people. So acoustics has been with us throughout. And then as time has moved on, there's records of the Romans putting straw down to reduce the sound of carts going off cobbled streets. And then as we became more industrialized, whilst transport became quicker, and it was quicker to go by railway and ultimately the internal combustion engine, it came at a price of increased noise. And the noise from the Industrial Revolution as well was there. So while society exists, acoustics will be a part of it, and we will in some areas need to manage it. And hence it's important that we have people coming into the profession, learning about it and contributing to it. Well, the main issue is that the profession is not huge compared to others. We have about 3,000 members of the Institute of Acoustics. Some of the other engineering institutes are almost 10 times as big as that. So we are relatively small. Acoustics as a subject is not taught in schools. Maybe there are some elements of the physics course that deal with sound, but sometimes it's lost in the general subject of waves, which includes light, and the physics of light is very different from the physics of sound. So it is not straightforward to find acoustics as a career, and a lot of work that we've been doing within the Institute of Acoustics is through our STEM ambassadors, trying to introduce young people to the concepts of sound and acoustics and the career that could come from it. And with the apprenticeship scheme, we realised that we were cutting off a certain access to our profession, because traditionally people tend to do a first degree, go to university and then move into acoustics, which is certainly the route I took. But for not everyone, the academic route is appropriate. So we're offering another opportunity to get into the profession through the technician scheme. Well, by opening up even more how you can get into the profession, we almost by definition are opening up to more people to come and join us. And we are a fairly diverse profession, but clearly we could do more. There are certainly, in terms of gender diversity, we're not doing too badly. Ethnic diversity, there are people in the profession, but it's open to all. And if we provide another route into it, then it must be able to help diversity and inclusivity as part of the profession. Well, the obvious one is just an increased resource. As I indicated earlier, we have acoustics is a very, very broad-based profession, and there's lots of things that can be done. And the more people we can get into it, the more we can do and the better we can become at it. So simply providing another route into the profession must be of benefit. Apprenticeships, as I said earlier, provides another route into the business, and you can be an extremely good acoustician without having a load of academic qualifications behind you. And I had personal experience of this with a good friend of mine who sadly is no longer with us. But he and I used to work on putting PA systems, public address systems, into churches. And I would sit down with all my equations and sums and work out the optimum position for the loudspeakers. He would do it entirely instinctively, and we always agreed, but he didn't do any equations. He just knew from his experience of working with sound day in, day out, where the best place was to put these loudspeakers. So you don't have to be academically gifted to be a very good acoustician. And so that's why the apprenticeship scheme that's been set up provides a huge opportunity for those who may not be academically gifted, but yet could be able to join this wonderful profession.